Connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. We begin this 5:30 half hour with a live look at Pioneer Courthouse Square in downtown Portland, where tonight the city of Portland is ringing in the new year with a drone show, actually a couple of them, and a dance party. It's set to kick off with a family-friendly celebration at 8 o'clock. There will also be, like I said, 2 drone shows, so another drone show and a countdown to the new year at midnight.
Well, remember, fireworks are illegal in Portland city limits as well as other cities like Vancouver. And new this year, if you hear them going off, you can report it online. Also, if you're going out to celebrate, make sure to have a plan to get home safely. PBOT's offering some discounts on Uber and Lyft, and TriMet is free after 8. So we'll get to your New Year's forecast in just a few minutes. It's going to be dry, but first, for our top story, with a Portland father now sentenced to life in prison after he admitted to killing the mother of his 3 children.
And the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office says her death back in 2022 could have been prevented. Mohammed Adan murdered Rachel Abraham in front of their 3 young daughters. Leading up to her death, there was a documented history of domestic violence. But despite the risk, Adan was released from jail with help from an advocate group, the Portland Freedom Fund.
I want to be clear. I am sickened and outraged that this group chose to bail out the defendant. That reckless decision had real-world consequences.
She was a sister. She was a daughter. She was a friend. Perhaps most importantly, she was a loving and devoted mother.
DA Vasquez is now pushing for changes to state bail laws to prevent this from happening again. KGW has reached out to the Freedom Fund but have not heard back. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, you can call the Domestic Violence Hotline. The number is there on your screen. That is 1-800-799-SAFE. You can also text the word START to 88788. Well, Oregon's gas tax increase, among other controversial changes around transportation fees, are now on hold. That is because Republicans got the signatures needed to put the plan to voters. So for now, vehicle title and registration fee hikes are off. The payroll tax for transportation will not double, and the gas tax will not be going up by 6 cents per gallon starting tomorrow. That means less money for ODOT, which has been holding off on filling hundreds of positions. ODOT says the short legislative session in February will give them a better idea of funding.
Well, we're about 6.5 hours out from midnight, and one thing some people will continue to struggle with in 2026, food insecurity. And now one community in Northeast Portland that serves veterans is trying to do what it can to reduce some of the uncertainty. Libby Dowsett's live in the Woodlawn neighborhood with those details. Libby?
Well, David, the Bright Tongue building, managed by New Narrative, is a way to help veterans who once experienced homelessness get a roof over their heads, get food in their stomachs just by going down to the food pantry in their basement or by having a box delivered to their rooms.
We could walk a 5-block radius and find a dozen hungry people that don't know where that food's coming from.
Air Force veteran Tyree Shaw spent 4 years on the streets until he found a home here. The Bright Tongue building, tucked into a quiet neighborhood in Northeast Portland. He says one of the biggest benefits is not having to ask others for food.
It's hard to ask for stuff, when you're in a pinch. I'd rather go sneak in a Popeye's dumpster than go ask somebody for something to eat.
The building's basement food pantry is open to all residents, including Army veteran Patsy Payne, who served in the Vietnam era.
I have not been able to buy meat in years now.
Patsy depends on New Narrative's pantry for dry goods and her SNAP benefits for milk and produce. She said the delay in SNAP benefits in November during the government shutdown came as a shock.
I was feeling very threatened because I had very little to begin with.
It's hard to see folks struggle when they've given so much to our country and know that there isn't sustainable systems in place to support them.
New Narrative says the growing food insecurity in our community has inspired the group to increase on-site pantry supplies for veterans with the help of local churches.
Having this here where the food's not going to go rotten on the way home, where the cans aren't broken, where there's some hygiene, and it is so much nicer than wondering, what am I going to do tomorrow? I got to figure out how to get dinner.
I don't want people to ever go hungry. If there's anything we can do to make it feel more like home, then that's something we're going to do.
And the veterans we talked with said, hopefully by sharing their stories, people will see the importance of supporting local food pantries, because they say every little bit counts. Back to you guys.
That certainly does. Libby Dowsett in Northeast Portland tonight. Thanks, Libby.
To the coast now, where a jet ski rider died near Gearhart. The Coast Guard says a crew from Air Station Astoria was training in the area around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon when they spotted the overturned jet ski. Police later found the rider's body on the beach. Officials have not released the person's identity or any information about how they died.
To Tigard, where police say they arrested more than 20 people over the holidays for retail theft. 14 of those arrested are adults. 7 juveniles were also charged. Authorities say they recovered about $4,000 worth of merchandise, and a sizable quantity of fentanyl was also taken off the streets.
Portland police have arrested a man accused of stabbing 2 people on Christmas Eve. Police say Richard Stewart first stabbed a 20-year-old in the neck near the Hollywood Fred Meyer, then stabbed a 67-year-old man in the neck and head less than a mile away. Both are going to be okay. The cases are still under investigation. And Legacy Health and striking workers, including nurse practitioners and physician associates, have reached a second tentative agreement. The new deal addresses pay and creates a committee for workplace issues. About 135 advanced practice providers rejected the first deal after striking in early December. The union says the strike will end before the contract vote. We're expecting the result of that vote by January 3rd.
And speaking of health care, some 22 million Americans are preparing to start the new year facing higher health care costs as government subsidies for the Affordable Care Act expire at midnight. Gary Grumbach has the details.
Joseph Diemro is one of millions of Americans who will see his health insurance premiums go up at midnight. He buys his coverage through the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. Next month, he'll pay 15% more as federal subsidies to keep the cost lower run out.
It's a lot bigger than my car payment. It's between my car payment and rent. And it's getting closer and closer to the rent.
Healthcare advocates worry many Obamacare recipients will just get rid of their health insurance entirely instead of paying more.
there's going to be a lot of people who are going to have to make that really tough choice between their coverage and their other basic life necessities.
Rather than extending subsidies, Utah Republican Congressman Mike Kennedy, a doctor, says Obamacare needs a complete overhaul.
I want to make sure that those people have excellent access to high-quality health care, which I and people like me as doctors have been delivering for many years in the Obamacare process. So there's a way to make this happen.
But moderate Republicans and Democrats argue Congress needs to extend the health care credits while working on long-term reforms.
This is what the people want. Yep. The number one issue in America is affordability, and affordability of health insurance is right there at the very top.
And I'm going to set up a meeting with them.
President Trump, who has railed against Obamacare for years, says he'll start the new year negotiating to get private health insurance companies to lower their premiums.
Maybe they'll surprise us, but maybe we'll ask them for a 50% cut, and maybe they'll give it. You know, you never know.
So what happens next? Congress went home without any action on this earlier this month, and they're not in session today, so premiums will go up at midnight. The House is scheduled to vote next week on a 3-year extension of those Obamacare subsidies, but even if that passes, it likely won't pass the Senate, meaning higher healthcare costs could be the reality for millions of Americans for the foreseeable future. Gary Grumbach, NBC News, Washington.
Well, just ahead on this New Year's Eve, new developments in the search for a teenager missing in Texas.
And as crowds gather to ring in the new year across the globe, law enforcement is on high alert, what they say they're looking out for. Corey?
And the weather is also going to be perfect tonight to ring in the new year. It's going to be cold, but it's also going to be dry. We'll talk about the temperatures coming up.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
3, 2, 1.
All right, the view from down under as Sydney rang in the new year with the celebration over its iconic bridge and harbor, complete with music and a laser show. One of the world's first major cities to welcome 2026, some 19 hours ahead of the West Coast. And Christine and Corey, you'll love this. So it's Christmas, New Year's, and summer all at the same time. Beaches and barbecues, right?
Wow.
Gotta love it.
I love that. I've never experienced that before. Maybe
do it
that's in the
sometime.
future. Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's not going to be raining on our New Year's Eve anyway in town.
It's going to be wonderful. I'm really excited for this evening's weather. It's going to be cold, but it's also going to be dry, so that's definitely great to bring in the new year. Taking a look from our Wells Fargo Tower camera, a nice, beautiful night on tap. 42 degrees for us currently and sitting pretty. Look at our weather headlines. Dry and calm, as we mentioned, for our New Year's Eve. The rain moves in as we get into the early part of tomorrow, but it does taper, though, as we get into Friday. So the later part of the the week, before we start the weekend, that's when the rain does subside just a little bit. And then we have that typical winter weather pattern that we are going to expect to see, but breezier conditions as we get near the coast over the course of the weekend. So taking a look at our temperatures right now, a little bit chilly. Might want to grab a jacket this evening. 42 right now in Portland, 41 in Kelso. It looks like 41 in Salem as well. 34 in the Dalles and 31 in Pendleton. Currently a live look from our Pioneer Park building. This is where a lot of people are going to gather later, so it'll definitely be a good idea to grab a jacket this evening. It's 42 right now, but we're going to bump down to about 38 degrees once we bring in the new year. Our Salem sky camera also a clear picture for us this evening. And then getting into Futurecast, as we mentioned, it's going to be calm and clear. Not much, of course, in the way of rain at all. The clouds will move in as we get into the later part of the evening. Notice that system around Medford late this evening. That's what's moving toward us and going to create those rainier conditions as we get into the later part of tomorrow. So taking a look at your hour-by-hour forecast, as I mentioned, slowly declining in the way of temperatures. Going to stick at about 38 for our evening low as we ring in the new year. And it's a similar story in Southwest Washington. A little bit chillier, though, in some places. Longview sitting at 29 for our low tonight. Battleground 27 in Vancouver, about 30. Getting into Futurecast tomorrow, so a few minutes past ringing in the new year. And that's when we see that system start to become more widespread as it pushes in toward the valley. And then around 7:30 in the morning, that's when the rain does become a little bit more consistent throughout much of the day as well. It's going to be widespread, especially near the coast also. Taking a look at Futurecast, temperature-wise for our Thursday, going to sit about 41 in the morning. And then as we bump into the evening hours, that's when we get to about 44 degrees. So not much of an increase from the morning hours into the afternoon. Notice these areas on out east sitting colder for us, and that's also why we have this winter weather advisory in place toward the Columbia River Gorge. That's going to create some slicker conditions, the potential for some freezing rain as we get into our Thursday afternoon. And then on Friday, the rain, as I mentioned, does start to taper as we get throughout much of the day. Notice that it does clear for us, which is really good to see. As we usher in the weekend, that is when we do turn into more of a winter weather mix. Our 7-day forecast is as follows. So we had a high of 48 degrees today. It's going to be a calm, cool, dry night is what we can expect to see. Tomorrow bumping up to about 44 degrees. The rain will start pretty early, as I mentioned, but if you notice, 50s, mid-50s almost as we start a new year. That's very exciting.
Pretty good for January.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Thank you, Corey.
Well, still to come, fallout from a viral video why the federal government is freezing funding to some child care centers in Minnesota and how the impact there has now spread to the Northwest. That's next.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Welcome back on this New Year's Eve, where both the FBI and Homeland Security are warning of threats to celebrations. Now, both organizations say lone actors and smaller groups with a range of ideological motives pose the most significant threats. Officials say there is not any specific credible threat, but that the overall so-called threat matrix remains elevated. The assessment does mention concerns about a possible vehicle ramming like the one that occurred in New Orleans on New Year's Day 2025, the one that killed 14 people.
And it is a sad end to the frantic search for Camila Mendoza Olmos, the 19-year-old who went missing near San Antonio the day before Christmas. Deputies say the teen was found dead in an open field just a few hundred yards from her home. The medical examiner says the teen died from a self-inflicted wound. A reminder that help is available if you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts or mental health. In the U.S., call or text 988. That is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
Developing this evening, the Federal Department of Health and Human Services has announced that it is freezing all federal child care payments to the state of Minnesota after alleged fraud claims. This comes in the wake of a viral video that claimed child care facilities across that state run by Somali immigrants were not actually open to children. It's a claim that has not been independently verified or proven. HHS also says it is implementing new requirements for child care payments nationwide. The agency said, quote, all administration for children and families payments across America will require a justification and a receipt or photo evidence before we send money to a state. Now, Minnesota's governor pushed back, saying the state has spent years cracking down on fraud, and the president is, quote, politicizing the issue to defund programs.
That investigation and video is apparently sparking harassment in Washington state. Attorney General Nick Brown says daycares run by Somali people are being targeted by, quote, unsubstantiated claims of fraud. He says, quote, showing up on someone's porch, threatening or harassing them isn't an investigation. Neither is filming minors who may be in the home. This is unsafe and potentially dangerous behavior. Brown is encouraging daycares to report harassment to the police or his office.
Okay, something to consider the next time you mail in your ballot. Could be May or November, right? The U.S. Postal Service is changing its postmark process. Now, for decades, the postmark used to show when mail was accepted by the post office. It was also used as proof that an individual met a deadline, like turning in your ballot on Election Day. But now, the postmark will reflect the date an envelope is first processed by a sorting machine, not the drop-off date. To be safe here, send time-sensitive mail several days ahead of schedule.
And just ahead, we are checking out Oregon's second oldest tourist attraction. As soon as you get there, things start getting a little strange. What's going on inside the Vortex? That's next.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
To the southern Oregon town of Gold Hill now, where apparently the laws of physics do not apply.
Okay, John Bartell goes into one of the strangest places in the whole state.
It's strange, it's weird, it's a little confusing. It's also Oregon's second oldest tourist attraction. This is the Oregon Vortex. Hiding below a forest of oak trees in Gold Hill, Oregon, is an unexplainable and invisible force. A place that animals fear and gravitational anomalies go unexplained. It's also a place where golf balls roll up hills and brooms stand upright on their own.
I'm just gonna lift it right up into the air. And as we see, that bristle didn't take a heavy swing in towards me.
This mysterious place is known as the Oregon Vortex.
And as old as we are as a tourist attraction, the Vortex is presumably been here forever.
It's a little tough to explain what a vortex is, but operations manager Joshua Paulson does his best to simplify the anomaly.
A whirlpool of motion or force is the easiest way to define a vortex. So everything from drains in our sinks to hurricanes or tornadoes, all the way up to a black hole or a galaxy on a supermassive scale. Each of these things represent a vortex.
According to Joshua, the vortex is about a half an acre in size, and once inside, the laws of physics start to bend.
Just want to make sure everything's staying nice and level, so we'll let it stop here in the middle.
On seemingly level ground, shorter people appear to gain a few inches, and taller people, well, appear shorter.
So you feel taller? I do feel taller. Oh, that's nice, right?
If you didn't catch that, here's a side-by-side look.
Hang it onto the handrail as you come in, it can be tricky to locate your balance, especially the first time through.
In the middle of the vortex stands an old miner's shack that supposedly slid down the hill during a storm, which left the walls lopsided by 8 feet on either direction, only to accentuate some of the strange things that go on in the vortex.
I mean, I can put a little.
It's almost like I gotta catch it.
Yeah, right. And like, you know, I feel like I need to stop you, right?
Yeah. Legend has it, Native Americans called this place Forbidden Grounds, and after gold miners abandoned the property, physicist John Lister purchased the land in 1920.
John Lister is the cheerful-looking gentleman here with his pants tucked firmly up into his armpits. There he is.
John Lister devoted a good portion of his life to trying to solve the mysteries of this place. To fund his research, he gave tours of the property and even conducted experiments on skeptical tourists.
Skeptics are honestly our bread and butter, and honestly, we leave them scratching their heads more often than we leave them, grumpy or thinking, that we pulled something, like they're looking behind the curtain, right?
The results of John Lister's experiments are just as mysterious as the vortex itself. Around the time of his death in 1957, the barn that had all of his scientific notes mysteriously burned to the ground.
Some people think he burned it just before he died because the world wasn't ready, or that his wife did for similar reasons.
We may never get the answers to the mysteries behind the Oregon Vortex, but in a way, that's kind of a good thing, because those mysteries are what bring thousands of people all over the world to the Vortex every year. From the Oregon Vortex in Gold Hill, Oregon, I'm John Bartell. Hope to see you on the back roads.
All right, I'm such a skeptic. I'm
Oh,
gonna bring my own tape measure, my own level, and my own bottle and see what happens, right?
You should do that. We should all go on a little field trip together. I think that'd be fun.
I think so too.
I've never been, but anyway, maybe we'll go together. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Okay, New Year's Eve tonight. Very excited for it and excited for no rain.
Yes, absolutely. And also the temperature is going to be sitting a little bit chillier. Make sure you grab a jacket. Going to bump down to about 38 degrees tonight as we ring in the new year. And a last look at that 7-day forecast. Rain as we start New Year's Day, but it is going to taper as we head into the first weekend of
those
a new year.
50s.
Yes.
Stick around, another half-hour news coming up in just 2 minutes.